This episode of Speakers of Eidolon is made possible by our generous patrons, like Scry de la Rosa, Omega Cat Comet, Saray Cypher, Hans Grenade, Anna Ginteres, Lilium Tenebrae, Paris Gentoru, Cletus Oreo, Lucliana Trell, Sapa Chakwatol, Courtney, Meili Algren, Ariana Barakil, Elam, Casey Schaefer, Lily Black, Chaitan, Chesha Saltiri, Ariel, Erisu Yamakawa, Sisiriful Alerifu, Daimos, Jamie Assur, Fafa Mai Kokomai, Asuta Starbreeze, and Umbral Wind. Support the show and become a patron today at patreon.com/SpeakersXIV. Thank you.
This is Speakers of Eidolon.
Good evening, Aerisians. Welcome to Speakers of Eidolon, episode 128. I'm Lakeel Bravestone, and I'm joined today by Rollo Des and Maela Vanadar. Woo!
Yeah, we did it!
We did it.
Out of the void.
Out of the void. Welcome, everyone. Today's main topic is the continuation of the 5 years of Final Fantasy XIV interview that Square Enix did with themselves.
Wow.
We read the A Realm Reborn one, like, was it December, like early December, maybe late November.
Never finished it.
We did finish it. A Realm Reborn we did.
Well,
but part two we never did. Part two came out in this, I think it might have been early January, and we're going to finish that today. They're going to talk about Heavensward in that one. The Realm Reborn one was really interesting because they talked about all like the proto dungeons that we never got and stuff. It'll be interesting to hear what they have to say about Heavensward. We'll also talk about Valentione's Day 2019. Some really weird items.
Very weird.
So I don't know.
Specific.
Very specific. In the post show, we'll premiere Remnants of a Realm, Ishgard, the city-state that never was, but mind you, this one is so fresh. I mean, it's been a while since we've had such a fresh video on, like the one that's literally rendered now, and it's the first pass of a render. But I need to go on to core now, so this video might not even come out in its form. This video won't be on YouTube in a while, so patrons will get it after the show. But we'll show that on the post show. In channel updates, so core will then be out on Thursday for patrons. That is my target, because that is the 31st. That should be in line with when I release the first episode of core in December. Fall and Rise is then next up for a mid-February release for patrons. Right. Let's go to quick news. There will say, what the fuck are you doing?
I was turning my lights. Sorry.
Close, Rollo.
I wanted to give you a little smooch.
Oh god, audio listeners, Rollo just got very close to the camera. Okay, there was a fake Final Fantasy XIV Twitch channel that appeared on Twitch, claiming to be Final Fantasy XIV's official Twitch channel. It was the most viewed on Twitch under Final Fantasy XIV.
See, that's surprising, because they would have no followers initially.
Yeah. I'm assuming they just used bots.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What were they actually streaming anyway?
I actually don't know. I never checked it out.
Well, it was World of Warcraft.
Oh, finally.
Maybe it was just like maybe they just stole a video from someone who had streamed earlier and just played that.
So one of your videos actually.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't make much sense. It claimed to offer double EXP in 14 if you follow the link in the description. And already here, there should be a big red flag. I don't think at any point Square Enix would ever do anything like that. That's very out of character.
Unless this was an accidental slip.
But no, it's the URL is actually XLV. It was XLV, not XIV. So they were trying to fool you. The original one was taken down pretty quickly, but other ones did pop up in its place. So just be careful. The official one is Final Fantasy XIV I think that's just it. That's it. Twitch.tv/Final Fantasy 14. That is the only channel they have. So don't look.
XIV.
Yeah.
XLV.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, XIV. Not XLV.
XLV's 45, so that's a little bit later down the line of the series.
Right. In other news, new merchandise has been announced for Paris Fan Fest, which is in a week. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But there were 2 new items announced for Paris. One of them is a Meister quality figure of Ultima, the High Seraph.
Very beautiful.
Very
weird.
How much is it?
I'm sure it's a reasonable price.
Isn't it like 200 and something euros? It's very expensive.
It's 250 euros.
Yeah.
So,
240
you're not
euros.
going to carry that back with you. What if it broke?
Yeah. Also, ordering that as well. Remember the Shiva statue was a mess?
Oh, God, yeah. And this looks just as flimsy in parts.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
There's some
It's very
areas
nice
there that...
statue.
Yeah. It's got like a little tail section, and that looks like it can break very easily. It's like some feather. I'm gonna do the wool head thing.
Snap that off.
So you see there, it's out of focus, but you see it. Ultima the High. No, it's weird, isn't it, to pick that one? It's so recent. There's so many others they could pick, but I guess this is in style now. So, Ultima.
It's like a 2-week spoiler.
Yeah. Ultima the High Seraph, featured in the Return to Ivalice raid series, has been painstakingly recreated as a highly detailed figure by world-renowned creators from Japan. The figure features realistic sculpting and delicate paintwork, and would make a welcome addition to any fan's collection. Be the first to get your hands on this amazing figure at the European Fan Festival 2019 in Paris. It also comes with a special in-game emote, Ultima! What do you think that would be?
Nice surprise.
Yeah. What is that? What is Ultima? Oh, Ultima. The attack? Wait, is that it?
But it's not Ultimate Weapon, though.
No. There was. Did you see the data mine stuff about it?
No.
There was like a really fancy. It's like I don't know. It's Ultima.
Okay, it's just Ultima. Okay. Huh. One thing that I'm very intrigued about is the Final Fantasy XIV Gold Saucer Cagpot Party, which is a board game.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
That was...
It's got little Eorzean coins.
Oh my god, you don't even have to buy the Eorzean coins.
Exactly. Yeah, like plastic ones instead.
Yeah. So basically, it looks like a very small... I don't quite understand how this game works, but...
I think you move around the board... I don't know.
There aren't like...
I don't know how it works.
There's not a lot of spaces to walk on, but I'm sure that's fun. Pay a visit to the Gold Saucer with this mini Cactpot board game inspired by the popular attraction. Break out the adorable Cactuar playing pieces, grab some friends, and get ready for a Cactpot frenzy. Attendees of the Fan Festival 20... Oh, so that was that. No. Attendees of the Fan Festival 2019 in Paris will be the first adventurers to go hands-on with the game. We will have a dedicated area where you can learn how to play, so you can try your hand at this brand new board game. It will also be available to buy directly from the merchandise area. So, yeah, looks cool. It's got like a Monopoly almost look to the box, like one of those premium Monopoly boxes. I guess it's got like a silver finish on the logo. If you're unable to attend the event to grab these new items, don't worry, because you'll be able to pre-order them on the Square Enix store. And pre-orders begin on Sunday, February 3rd, 2019. And the official release date will be March 23rd. Saturday, 2019.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, they'll follow up more when the pre-orders begin. So only 2 new items. I didn't put this in the show notes, but they also announced the merchandise lineup for Japan, and
which is extensive.
Yeah, one of them is
really nice stuff.
Yeah, they always get the nice stuff. But one thing that Mila pointed out just before we went live, there was one thing I was a bit excited about, was the Meteor Survivor ring. It's not red. The jewel in the middle isn't red. It's supposed to be Dalamud, and it's black.
Mm.
So I don't know.
Which is the Final Fantasy VII materia.
Yeah.
Which they already made a necklace of. Do you think they just took them out of the necklaces and put them in the ring?
They probably
Also, how
did.
much is it, by the way?
Oh, what was it again? It was 29,000 yen or whatever.
It was like $300, I think.
Yeah.
A little less than $300.
Sterling silver, which isn't that expensive. Not that expensive. It's a ring.
It's got nice detailing on it. It's got the Adventurers Guild logo on the sides. But yeah, they also got like some charms. There was like some medals. There's lots. So you'll find it on the subreddit.
Yeah.
I didn't put it in the show notes. Right. Okay. So they also announced the FanFest schedule for Paris.
Paris.
Americans.
Yeah. Sorry, America. These times.
It's pretty funny.
It's
I'm
on the East Coast especially.
Yeah, I'm gonna read these actually in the North American time, but I remember when this starts in Europe, so I'll give the GMT time for like the first one. Let's see what they say here. Watch the European Fan Festival opening its doors. With the European Fan Festival opening its doors in 1 week, we are excited to reveal the stage schedule. Warriors of Light, take a look through and begin planning how you want to experience this coming adventure. Whether you're attending the event or comfortably sitting at home, you'll be able to enjoy the show. So, here we go. It starts for America on Saturday the 2nd of February 2019 at 1 a.m. with Naoki Yoshida's keynote address and opening ceremony. 1 a.m. Pacific time.
Reasonable.
To 2:45 a.m. So it's a pretty, I think that's the same length that they had for the NA one.
So that starts at 4 a.m. for those of us on the East Coast.
Yes.
Which is...
It's at 9 a.m. for European.
Yeah, 9
English.
a.m.
It was very comfortable time.
Yeah, on a Saturday no less. So it's very nice.
Nice cup of coffee in the morning.
Knowing that your whole day isn't ruined because it's just started.
Terrible on that stream, by the way. Look, I'm dead.
But that's the most important one, Rollo. You have need of the fire in your soul.
I'll be there. I'll be excited. But
At 4 a.m. Pacific time, we'll have the development panel featuring Ayumi Namae, who's the character concept artist. She made the outfit designs for Lise and Yotsuyu, so that's gonna be probably a special panel.
Very diplomatic.
I think it'll be like Mr. Atmos panel.
That's kind of
pretty
what
cool
I'm
if you
assuming.
You're an artist or something, you'll probably enjoy it.
Oh yeah. I think it's more for the people that enjoy that. But that's just gonna spoil, because we're gonna talk about how we're gonna cover this. But I'm just gonna spoil that right away. We're not gonna cover that.
Oh, we're not. Okay.
No.
All right.
After that, it's the Glamour contest at 6 a.m. Pacific time to 6:30. So it's only 30 minutes of. This is the cosplay No, that's not.
Yeah.
No. This is the Glamour contest. This is the in-game Glamour contest for the Eurasian Spring Collection.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. That's pretty sad.
Oh, Jesus. We've selected 10 finalists from the Glamour contest, and their outfit will be showcased on stage. God. You'll be able to vote for your favorite at the event or from home via Twitch. So goodness, it's an interactive voting experience.
Very tragic that's in
come on,
life.
Support this.
That's so sad. That's really sad. And it's not even a comfortable time for American stuff.
At 7:30 a.m. To 8:30 a.m. So the morning has started in the in Pacific time.
Waking up, they've got their pork chops on the go.
Yeah. That's the cosplay contest. They worked very hard to be there, so come check out what our fellow adventurers have prepared as the finalists of the cosplay contest take to the stage for a special catwalk. We are sure our judges will have a difficult time choosing the winners of this year's cosplay contest. That's usually a pretty good part in 14. The 14 cosplayers are really
very good,
high quality. Yeah,
that Kefka one at the fan fest.
Oh god,
yeah.
NA?
Yeah.
Ooh.
And then it all wraps up at 10 a.m. To 11:30 a.m. with the piano concert performed by Benjamin Nuss, featuring Susan Calloway. Sit down.
So we can hear answers for the 14,000th time.
Sit down, relax, and be ready to be blown away by the talent of both of these fabulous artists. I'm not going to read all of this, but that's just the piano concert, basically.
And it's not streamed, so we can't enjoy it, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ruby!
I like listening to her perform live.
Yeah. Sunday, February 3rd, 2019, at 1 a.m. That's 9 a.m. for Europe. But 1 a.m. Pacific. That's when Letter from the Producer live.
Oh, God.
What? 49. 49 at 1 a.m. to 2:30 a.m. Pacific. Join Naoki Yoshida to discover what's still to come in the patch 4.5 series. In the second part of the show, Ayumi Namae will join him to answer questions gathered from the official forum, so be ready to learn all the secrets of her designs. It's interesting because there's a Q&A section there from the forums, and then 1 hour later, so there's a 1 hour break after the live letter.
God.
And then there's the Eorzean question time at 3:30 a.m. to 4:30 a.m., which is the Q&A for the FanFest. So that ends at 4:30 a.m. Pacific. At 5:15 a.m. to 5:25 a.m., which is not long, it's 10 minutes. That's the Glamour contest results. So that's when they announce the winner of the Glamour contest.
Goodness.
At 5:30 a.m. Pacific to 7:30 a.m. Pacific, the Feast Regional Championship.
They're called the Ugandan Warriors.
2018 European Finals. Oh my god. It's time to grab
free Taru.
It's time to grab some snacks and get comfortable. Watch as our finalists #free Taru. Feels glad man. No one curse. Is that
no one cares.
No one cares.
Oh.
No one cares.
Oh.
And Ugandan warriors fight fang and claw to become the Feast regional champions. Be sure to support your favorite team. What a lineup!
No one cares quite heavily.
And then, of course, the whole thing is wrapped up at 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific. We will close the show with a rock concert to remember. That is the Primals live in concert with Soken and his band. This will also not be broadcasted. What?
Put on your dancing shoes.
Put on your dancing shoes and headbang to all the classic 14 tunes from the Primals.
Can you headbang?
No.
Oh, okay.
My brain hurts after I do that. My massive brain will slosh around in my head.
Your tiny brain with all the air in your skull just hits.
Yeah.
The marbles in my brain that kind of my skull.
It hurts. It hurts.
Eyeballs.
Yeah. So that is the official schedule for Paris Fan Fest. We will cover it, of course. We haven't. This came very abrupt to us for some reason. I thought it was mid-January, but even though I knew it was the 2nd, it's weird. It's next week. We'll cover the keynote and the opening ceremony on Saturday. We'll probably have like a section after that where we, discuss what's happened because a lot is going to be dumped. And then on Sunday we will cover the live letter and the following Q&A. We more information will come, but that's our main stuff that we know we're going to cover. This might change, but yeah. What do you think we're going to see on the keynote? Do you think we'll see what do you think he's going to reveal? Is he going to reveal the job, the race, or both? Because he's definitely going to announce one of them. Either the gun blade or the race, right?
We'll probably get like a full body shot of like Viera, and then we'll get Gunblade like in action, I feel like.
Yeah.
But I think they'll save the last job for the Japanese Fan Fest. That's my guess, at least.
Yeah. And
maybe they'll throw a curveball at us. Who knows?
Yeah.
They'll get a little surprise in there.
Because we are getting the second version of the trailer with more added to it. It's not the full trailer because that's what we're getting in Japan. But maybe this trailer will I still have a feeling that maybe Viera will be shown in the trailer eventually. I don't know. Maybe that would be the reveal for Viera in the European Fan Fest, and then he won't say anything else because he'll be like, it's in the trailer. Because he did that with the Gunblade job. He just said, what's one of the new jobs? It's in the trailer. He might do
What's
that.
out in his back? Oh,
Yeah. That's true. He already sort of teased it in the NA one. I feel like he kind of have to follow up on that now.
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking, that they're going to show specifically Gunblade off a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how much it varies between that and Machinist, I guess.
Yeah. It's gonna be
How
so-
melee is it?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be
Like full melee?
very melee.
it should
Very
be.
melee.
Yeah. Should be
But
like
you'll probably have some, like... They'll probably have that cross attack they do, like the line AoE. You'll have something like...
yeah.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
It'll have all of Squall's limit breaks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're gonna do limit breaks too. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like reverse RDM, where like you go in melee to build up your charge or something, and then you back off to use it.
That would be interesting, but
Yeah.
I have like no idea. I can't even imagine the class right now.
I mean, it could be like it could be anything. Like maybe it's about setting up the fucking X things, and that's your gimmick. It's
Yeah.
like you place them and then use a skill to like send them out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It could.
Do we know? Because a lot of people, what role is it? That's the big question. Isn't
Oh
it?
right, it should be a tank.
physical.
It should be a tank.
Yeah. Is it like which one of the Trinity is it? Is it a DPS or is it a tank? I think
Because I don't want. We have too many DPS already. I don't want more DPS.
a lot of people want this to be the tank, and then they want Dancer, which we still don't know if it is even coming. Is a healer, which makes sense.
It doesn't have to be Dancer, but I do want another healer.
Yeah.
Just because, like, the 3 tanks and 3 healers compared to the fucking dozen DPS, it's like, I want some variety. You know,
Yeah.
I want some variety.
Yeah.
I want to be a Vieira Dancer, male Vieira Dancer. That is me.
Show off that sexy Vieira belly.
Yeah, that they're so famous for. Yeah. The other thing is, of course, the Vieira reveal, which I feel like, again, kind of, it's weird if he doesn't show it now, because we've had Return to Evil East, we've seen Fran,
Yeah, true.
and he also wore the shirt on the NA Fan Fest, so he's already sort of like we're on the edge, we're just staring into the abyss. He just needs to
been
lift his
edging
hand up.
so
Yeah,
long.
We've been edging for a while now.
I'm ready to burst, dude. Come on.
It's going to be so disappointing when it looks like nowhere near as quality as Fran.
That would be sad.
It's like got a Rogadin face. And just a couple of layers.
Vieira do have a weird nose, I realized when I looked
They
at
do
Fran.
have a
They have like the upturned.
Yeah, they're like a
nose. But I think it's cute. I like it.
yeah. At least it's unique to their race. It's no other race in Eorzea has that kind of nose.
There might be different noses too that are like not as upturned. or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
People like.
Oh, I hope there's like a nose that's just like a complete like banana. Like it's got little long nostrils. You can't really tell what's the eyes if it's that or the nose. Okay, that is my dream race. Okay. But yeah, we'll see. We'll probably also hear a lot about the World Transfer Service again, because that is getting ever closer. But
They'll
yeah,
probably wear a t-shirt with the next clue on,
yeah,
which will be fun to
probably
speculate
something
on.
Dancer-ish.
Hopefully it's not like super obvious. I like the ones that are a bit obscure.
Yeah, the
That
fucking
fucking
Sam
Sam Raimi
Raimi
one.
dude.
Yeah, Sam
that
Raimi was
still makes
crazy.
me angry. I tell
Yeah.
people that story, they don't play 14, and they get upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see some more of the new areas as well, because they tend to. I think they show
Oh
that
yeah,
in
I
every
hope they
one.
show some in-game stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. We never saw Namu in the on the NA one, and he specifically said that they wouldn't. So maybe that, show more of those. Like there's a lot we can see in this, which is why it's so exciting. Okay. Let's jump to our main content. Let's talk about Valentione's Day, 2019.
Oh god, yeah.
It starts now this Thursday on January 31st at 12 a.m. PST and lasts until February 15th at 6:59 a.m. PST. Right. So, Love is in the air, and Astrid has big plans for this year's Valentione's Day. Those who would lend a helping hand in sharing her message of ardor and affection are encouraged to seek her out. That is the little story blurb. Which, by the way, I talked with who was it? Was it Gangel? I think so. On Patreon chat about the how these are not specifically how these are presented. The seasonal events are presented, but how they presented certain stuff in game before. They used to use the Mithril Eye and the Raven and the Harbor Herald to present news stories about the seasonal events back in the day, and they had like massive like lore dumps in them. That's completely stopped now. You don't see them anymore. All you get is this tiny little like 3 sentences, and that's it. I miss that. Just a side note. I'm probably going to cover that actually on Roar. So, anyways, the thing everyone's talking about, or the event.
It's the interesting quest, right? Oh,
no, not the interesting quest, but the quest, by the way, is in Old Gridania. It's in the Miketo. Yeah, it's in the Miketo Amphitheater.
It's Miketo Amphitheater.
Yeah. So.
Oh God, the item's awesome. There's a little mammoth. Plush mammoth.
Well, those are fine, but there are 2 pieces of gear that's not quite making sense to people. There's a Dark Knight arm, which is the Giga's great sword, which is just like an ugly looking sword.
It looks very low res.
It's the one the Giga has in fucking Mordona wield, right? Yeah.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh.
And the Culinarians. Okay, this is the best one by far for me. Culinarians' secondary tool, the Tonberry knife.
Never see, basically.
You see it when you use it, like in a craft.
Yeah,
but that's it.
And such an iconic item as well.
Are we gonna kill someone? Is this like a really dark quest line? Because we're getting knives.
Well, I mean, if you look at Astrid in the picture, she doesn't look happy.
Yeah, she also says that, it doesn't say that here, but this one like focuses on people that are not in a relationship, like single people as well.
Yeah, so maybe we're going to break up.
We're just going to kill couples. Yeah.
Finally, justice for single people. Goddamn fucking couples. Ruining my life.
Yeah.
It's weird that one of them is a Dark Knight arm, though, and that's the next main class.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's supposed to be some sort of like nod to that, or if
what a reward for the Dark Knights.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks, I hate it.
There are 2 more items though, which might be an indication of why we're getting certain items here. A Valentione lobster platter, and a Valentione cake pairing. Maybe we are killing a lobster.
As a Dark Knight.
And then we make the lobster platter as a culinarian with a Tonberry knife.
Doesn't make sense.
Why would we use a Tonberry knife?
Maybe we're making a cute pairing between a Gigas and a Tonberry.
Oh.
And they give us rewards.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I whatever, dude. Well, at least we get a stuffed mammoth. We get a stuffed Valentione-themed mammoth, a pink mammoth with a heart on the top of its little
cute
helmet. Yeah. Also, it says at the bottom, certain items available during previous iterations of the event can be obtained via the seasonal shop. So if you don't like this year's events items, just buy the ones from previous years on the Mog station. I don't know. I'm gonna get these, of course, but it's weird. I just think it's weird. Okay, well, move on.
It's pretty weird.
No gear either. Like, other than the like, no seasonal event gear. Just the weapons. But we'll see. It'll start on the 31st, so please look forward to it. Now, let's talk about 5 years of Final Fantasy XIV Part 2 Heavensward. This is a big... this is part 2 of a massive interview with the dev team. This one includes Naoki Yoshida, I am bad at names, Kazutoyo Maehiro, Takio Suzuki, Kenji Sudo, and... oh, this is the hardest one of them all. Michael, Christopher, Koji Fox. Right, so those are the people being interviewed here. Let's just jump into it. It's all just a blur. On the eve of Heavensward is how this part starts out. What can you tell us about the production of Heavensward? My hero says, honestly, I don't remember anything that happened. Great! We're off to a good start.
Thanks, my hero.
And then Yoshida follows, I don't remember. Though I suppose I do recall saying MMOs sink or swim with the first expansion when we started. Huh. That is, I think, probably true, yeah.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. Pseudo, I don't remember much before release, but I do remember finishing up and going home early because I wanted to play right afterward. Okay. Koji Fox says, I remember it well, mainly because I was translating Fates up until the day before we sent the master build, screaming 200 more translations to go. Oh god, his job is must be so stressful. The schedule for Heavensward was a nightmare, says Yoshida. Koji continues, we were working on both Heavensward and patches for A Realm Reborn at the same time, but we didn't have simultaneous development figured out yet. It was awful.
Oh my god.
Oh, so they just did... Oh, God. That is pretty bad. That must have been... I understand why they took that break now, between 3.1 and... now 3.0 and 3.1.
So they were working on, like, a new version and an old version of the game at the same time?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like how they did 1.0 and A Realm Reborn, I guess, where they sort of did both at once. Yoshida says, I think it was when I was doing the media tour at a castle in France. Living the dream, boys. That I heard from you. Could you possibly contact the lead for Dragon Quest? We don't have enough translators, and if we don't borrow some, we won't make it. So I call an old producer friend of mine in Japan, from France, and say, I'm so sorry, but I need you to lend me 2 people for 2 months, please. I remember being so relieved when he responded with, no problem, it's an important project. Good luck.
Oh,
treating stuff like cattle.
Koji, it was it was horrible at the time. I kept thinking about how much I wanted to go home and sleep, but thanks to that experience, the development of Stormblood went smoothly. We finished up a week early, and I couldn't help but think, is it okay for us to be done so soon? Then he laughs. The scale of Heavensward's story feels much grander than that of A Realm Reborn. Why was Ishgard chosen as the setting for that adventure? My hero. We already know this because they said this earlier. We decided... it's basically Tanaka's fault. My hero. We decided that it would be set in Ishgard early on. Ishgard had existed since 1.0, but in name only. There was a bit of text about it, but that was it. Nothing had been fixed as to what sort of nation it was or what it looked like. A Realm Reborn was a remake, but we made some adjustments to the city-states and other locations to suit the story. Ishgard, though, was designed from the ground up, so we thought we should make it a place that really expanded the world of Final Fantasy XIV. Yoshida. When I took on the project, I asked the staff why 1.0, despite being a Final Fantasy title, had so few fantasy elements. I was told, well, actually, there's this isolationist nation called Ishgard, with knights fighting dragons. That's where we shoved all the fantasy stuff. To which I said, but you can't even go there. I personally don't care for the idea of having something that never appears and is only used as a backdrop.
Let's just take that comment and think about all of the stuff in game right now.
How about Al Amigo?
New World, everything.
Al Amigo is a backdrop. It's a dungeon.
You can go there. It's there.
You can't go inside.
But no, you're inside the outer part.
The outer part. But with A Realm Reborn, we needed to make amends and do that by utilizing the stage that had been set in 1.0. Once The Realm Reborn was taken care of, though, Ishgard was the natural choice for the first expansion, so it was decided on well in advance. I directed everyone to think about why dragon and man would be at war, keeping in mind that we were aiming for gothic fantasy, and that's how we began, creating Heavensward. What sort of fantasy? Expanding horizons with Heavensward. Chapter 2. Welcome to the audiobook. Heavensward made many changes to the world, including increasing the level cap to 60 and making flying mounts available. Were these things also decided far in advance? Yoshida says, yes, they were. We decided there would be new jobs, a new race, and flying in the expansion. In retrospect, it was a bit much, but at the time, I thought of the expansion as not only sink or swim, but as a portent of what was to come. I was considering adding 2 jobs, but Gondai insisted it would be better to have 1 for each role, so let's go for it. Gondai, you knew what was up. And I agreed. I had cause to regret that toward the end of development. I also thought that we should add a new race, since we had added female Rogadin and male Mikote in transitioning from 1.0 to 2.0, but not an entire race. Flying had been the norm in modern MMORPGs since the 1.0 days, so that was also planned from the beginning. I also wanted to add swimming, but naturally the workload would have been insurmountable, so we limited it to flying for the time being. I mean, when you think about it, Heavensward gave us a lot.
It did. It was a great expansion.
Yeah, it was a very big expansion.
It was a big leap forward.
Yeah. Key concepts for Heavensward were sky, dragons, and knights, and the mood expressed through the palette, lighting, and story was to be gothic and mature. That was the broad framework we established when we began development. Which I remember that he said. I remember they said before Heavensward came out that it was going to be a darker 14. And they were right. It was darker. Yeah. There were many surprising elements, such as fight with the Knights of the Round on Azizla. Yoshida. We even discussed having Koji write the story in the beginning. What? Koji, we did, didn't we? My son was actually born during A Realm Reborn, and I was so busy at the time I wasn't at home much, leaving my wife to deal with everything. Sad. So during patch 2.1 and 2.2, I took about 6 months of parental leave to give her some time off, and thus was out of the office. I didn't really get to get work done during that period, but I did jot down some story ideas, and we considered using them in Heavensward. Later on, I spoke with Maehara and Oda, and they let me get involved in creating the story. In case you're wondering, my original ideas were a bit different from the story we have in the game, and included having the player visit Al Amigo during Heavensward.
Whoa.
As like a full city?
Yes.
It would have been a weird... How would it have worked, though?
We would have had...
Because it'd have been full of Guardians.
No clue how that would have worked.
Oh, that sounds so interesting, though.
Yeah, it does.
Oh... That would have made sense, because it would have, like, done the whole, like, it would have made more sense for Stormblood to be only Authard, because it would be done with, it's weird, though. I don't quite know how that, yeah, like you said, it would have been full of Guardians.
Idleshire or something.
Yeah. You said earlier that you don't care for things that don't actually appear and are relegated to the backstory, but 2 of the 7 great worms, Vetra and Asdaya have yet to appear. Can we expect them to show up soon? Yoshida says, that was Maehara's fault for biting off more than we could chew. Even at the time, I was shocked. We're adding 7 dragons? Maehara, well, when you're talking dragons, it has to be 7. I mean, look at Dragon Ball. Oh. Yoshida. Okay, good reference. Yoshida, we have a lot of Asians as well, but I suppose I'm equally guilty. I kept promising we add the Warriors of Darkness and whatnot. My hero, the world is a big place, so I'm sure all of the 7 great worms are out there somewhere. Then he laughs. They laugh a lot. They are having a jolly old time during this.
The wine is flowing.
Yeah, absolutely.
They'll be in the skybox in the corner, near the moon.
Yeah. Preserving the spirit of Final Fantasy XIV while respecting its predecessors. In addition to Azizla, the Warring Triad, and the Knights of the Round, Heavensward added Alexander, which appeared in titles such as Final Fantasy VI and Final Fantasy IX. As an 8-player raid, is there anything you focus on in particular when basing content around this sort of character? One that has appeared in past games. Pseudo says, when working with an existing character, I always research them thoroughly. I figure out their mechanics and how to fit them into Final Fantasy XIV's combat system, developing my own logic as to how to incorporate them into the game. Yoshida, you always seem to test the limits of imagination in so doing. He laughs. I should mention every time he laughs. I've skipped it, almost all of them so far, but there's a lot of laughing.
Lots of hearty chuckles. Yeah.
Heavensward's main scenario includes an original primal, Ravana, alongside the legacy character Bismarck. How do you go about finding balance when you're incorporating both new and old? Yoshida says, making those decisions is my job. It's been part of my role since A Realm Reborn. I had heard that 1.0 didn't feel enough like a Final Fantasy game, so I made Ifrit our first primal fight, and otherwise took great care to bring out the FF-ness in our Realm Reborn. We did our penance with that, and in Heavensward we were free to create what we liked, thus the new primal. But in the name of fairness, that meant we had to add a character that had appeared in previous titles as well, and that's essentially how it works. I create a framework which takes into account what will appeal to people and make those decisions. I do think Final Fantasy XIV as a Final Fantasy theme park, but a theme park with only one type of ride would get old fast. Maintaining diversity is important, and keeping the amount of new and legacy elements balanced is part of that. The same considerations also affect the story and other facets of the game. I guess that makes a little sense. I mean, I know some people don't like the theme park style that 14 has now. I'm like, I'm fine with it now, but I do also kind of miss the 1.0 part where it was just its own contained stuff, but I'd take this version of 14 over 1.0 any day anyways. And that's how we came to include Ravana, a new primal, and Bismarck from Final Fantasy VI. Yoshida says, I had wanted a character that could... what? I had wanted a character that could fly to go with the Heavensward concept, so I may have been overly insistent on Bismarck. With Ravana, the conversation went something like, there aren't any insect primals, are there? So, Dunbine? Dunbine. Who's Dunbine?
I think there's like a citation somewhere further down.
Oh, okay. Oh,
it's from some sort of like anime or Japanese TV show.
Aura Battler Dunbine was a 1980s mecha anime featuring insectoid battle robots. There you go.
That sounds
so it's
brilliant.
Okay.
We made our minds up at the spot, says Mahira. Yoshida says, we also choose the bosses for the raids first. Like, we should do Alexander after Bahamut. Do you have any stories about designing the Alexander raid? Ooh. Sido says, I was told that we wouldn't be having Alexander appear as a boss during Gordius. Huh? Oh.
As in Alexander itself.
Oh, right. And that it would just remain in the overworld. But that was during the best part of development for Heavensward, so I didn't think too much of it, beyond wondering if it would maybe fight it in patch 3.4 or so. My hero. We planned Alexander in stages. First it was, let's climb the right arm. Then we added climbing the left arm and going inside at the end. As we were discussing what one would find when climbing the right arm, we decided that Faust would be in there for some reason. And he laughs. Suzuki. The climax in the original plan had the player using a flying mount to land on the head, didn't it? Yoshida. Yeah, like docking a pilder? A pilder? Oh my god, another reference. In the 1970s anime, Mazinger Z, the protagonist would use a small hovercraft called a pilder to land atop the head of the titular giant robot and activate it. There you go.
God. What was the name of it again?
Mazinger Z, or Z.
Oh, Mazinger. Yeah. Okay. That's...
Yeah. My hero. Initially, we also said that Alexander... he was told that wasn't possible. My hero says, initially we also said that Alexander would be in the water, and that once the player boarded it, the water would part as it rose up and revealed itself. Laughs. Koji. We had to abandon that idea, but you can still see traces of it in Alexander the Creator when you're taking up to the head in an airship and defeat the guards to gain entry. I think that the result was a very Final Fantasy sort of scene. Alexander was good.
Yeah.
In total. But then they're going to talk about the controversial Gordius Savage. Alexander Gordius, particularly the Savage version, generated a lot of controversy. What was your intent when designing the raid? Pseudo says, we had gotten feedback about the final coil of Bahamut being too easy, so we felt that we should respond accordingly. Not in a spiteful way, we truly thought that we needed to make it tough in order to meet people's expectations. I think the general perception was that we needed to make something that wouldn't be cleared within a month. Holy shit. There were a lot of tricky mechanics, like, oh my god.
Digititis
and Ferrofluid in Sector 3, and Judgment Nisi in Sector 4. How do you come up with those? Pseudo says, the living liquid. Pepsi Man.
Yeah.
in Sector 3 was based on Liquid Flame from Final Fantasy V, whose magnet mechanic would switch characters between the front and back rows. Ferrofluid is what I figured that would look like if you dropped it into Final Fantasy XIV. Laughs. Everyone laughs. Was it hard to make? Was it hard to make two separate difficulty tiers for normal and savage? Pseudo says Alexander was the first 8-player raid with a savage tier, but we had experience creating separate difficulty levels from our work on A Realm Reborn. I feel like we didn't struggle too much in balancing normal mode because the whole team was on the same page in aiming for something with about the same difficulty as hard mode Primal Fight. A hard mode Primal Fight. What about the difficulty level for savage? Yoshida says, Gordius Savage had a gear check, which is to say that you couldn't do it unless your gear was above a certain level. While there aren't 4 difficulty tiers like in World of Warcraft, we did want there to be a clear difference between the first 2 and the last 2 sectors. So we carefully calculated the numbers so that you wouldn't be able to do Sector 3 without running the first 2 sectors repeatedly to improve your gear. So that's the main issue with Gordius.
Yeah.
We balanced it precisely, and that didn't go over well. Unlike in the final Coil of Bahamut, players couldn't progress through all 4 turns, and with weekly limits, they couldn't run it over and over. Essentially, we ended up forcing raiders to wait until they upgraded their gear to progress, with nothing to work at in the meantime. Then, on top of all that, they had to deal with tough mechanics like Judgment Nisi in Sector 4. I have lots of regrets, but in retrospect, I do think that our failed experiment in designing based on numbers alone helped us grow. I would say that we took seriously the feedback on progression in the final coil being too quick, and in our attempts to create the perfect raid to make up for it, we overcompensated. Then for Midas, we loosened the gear level restrictions and relied more on mechanics, but managed to overdo it again. I think we finally reached a nice balance with Alexander, the creator.
Yeah. See, I don't know about that because in sort of most other MMOs, you don't expect to clear like the Lich King on day or week 1. Right. You are supposed to run them over and over week by week until you get to the end.
Yeah, it's true.
But this community has this idea that everything has to be done on Tuesday. It's day 1.
It's because that's what was first served, I guess, with Coral.
Yeah.
So they were like, this is raids in 14 and this isn't going to work. We're going to miss a weekly lockout. Because we don't.
But you're not going to miss it because everyone's going to miss it because everyone's doing the same.
Yeah, I see your point.
And people can sometimes, in more modern ones at least, the really good people can beat it with not any raid gear from the new tier, like the old tier's gear.
Yeah,
because it's they're just good at it.
Yeah,
I also think Midas was probably the best in terms of difficulty. That was actually really hard.
Yeah.
But not like Gordius hard. Not like stupid, but it's really hard stuff.
Gordius was mostly dumb, though, because of the gear level check.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, it's...
Midas was ridiculous on some...
Midas was a bit too much, maybe, but yeah. I feel like Creator was the perfect way to sort of end it, because it had such a troubled start that the ending had to be like perfectly balanced, and I feel like Creator actually was. Whereas Midas was too much mechanics, and Gordius was too much bullshit. So Creator was like mixing the two together to make a perfect bebe.
A perfect bebe. I only got to like the 3rd tier of Midas, I think, at the time.
Time to go back.
I definitely didn't do brute justice on Savage when it was relevant. No. The Goblin at the start was really hard.
Yeah.
And then there was the one with the cat and the balls.
The cat and the ball, yeah.
That was hard.
Yeah.
But the one where you had to kill all 4 bosses in the thing in 10 minutes or you got enraged, that was just ridiculous.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
God.
Okay. Let's see. A sweeping narrative crafted in intricate detail. Heavensward not only features an action-packed story, but we also get to see what makes the characters tick, as well as meeting some fantastic newcomers. Were there any changes in the writing process compared to A Realm Reborn? Mahara says, the player character is still the star of the show. It's not like we were trying to write some kind of crazy multi-perspective narrative. But looking at Heavensward as a whole, it was a chance to show the growth of the other characters, like Alphinaud. Some of them proved to be extremely popular with the fans, like Alphinaud, Estilian, and Horstefant. Was that something you anticipated? I wonder if they're going to talk about Horstefant. My hero says, if I'd seen it coming, maybe I wouldn't have received as many angry letters that made me fear for my life. Okay.
Don't write him angry letters.
Don't do that. Even the person,
my hero alone.
Even the person who wrote most of the scenes never imagined there'd be such huge reaction from the players. One example would be the Heaven Sword, which is full of great characters like Grino, who the fans love to hate. One thing I regret, though, is that we originally had more scenes introducing each of them in the main scenario, but those parts ended up on the cutting room floor. I feel like we should have kept them.
Fully agree, because half of them you don't know.
Yeah, we just like see them like in the background, and we never really learn who they are. Yoshida says, when we were checking the story, we realized that there were too many characters to show all of their backstories, so we had to streamline it. Each member of the Heaven Sword is unique, with his own reasons for following Thordan. Some side with him of their own free will, while others are compelled by a sense of duty. So it's a shame we weren't able to depict all of this in-game. Yeah, that's sad. It seems like there's a huge amount of background lore. Does it also include the residents of each city? My hero. Although we don't give every single person their own backstory, we decide the percentage of each race populating the various regions, and then break it down further according to clans, such as the Seekers of the Sun and so on. For us, it's important to think about why these people came to live in each area, because this is the foundation on which the entire story is built. And I'm pretty sure that Koji feels the same way. Koji's response to that is, even though the players might be stepping foot in a place for the first time, it's actually been there for hundreds of years. Every street is there for a reason, because otherwise it's not a living, breathing place, it's just a backdrop. In Ishgard's case, it was built by Eorzeans who'd migrated north from Gridania, so the balance between the types of people who live there reflects that. My hero, Oda, and I finally focused on making the world of Final Fantasy XIV feel like somewhere that actually exists. It's difficult to express all of the lore relating to the residents and the city's history through the main scenario, so we tried to cover it in the side quests. I hope that people enjoy piecing together everything together for themselves. Interesting. I guess it makes. I have never. Is that like known lore that Ishgard was built by Gridanians technically?
Yeah,
that migrated north.
I feel like that's discussed somewhere in game, sort of at least.
Is it? It's been 84 years.
I can't remember. Yeah.
Interesting nonetheless. It makes sense.
It certainly doesn't feel like it was built by Gridanians, but like a just separate Elezen.
Yeah.
Who just happened to live there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess it must have been. Yeah.
Yeah. It's in the lore book. Oh yeah, for sure. It was built right after the flood. Okay, makes sense. Oh yeah, of course it is. We've even talked about this. Have we not talked about this on the? Maybe we talked about it on the post show. Yeah. Did we cover Ishgard in the lore episode?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So we probably talked about it then.
Probably talked about it.
Yeah. My hero. The lore is an essential part of making the world seem real. When you first go to a new place, you have to feel like everything belongs there. As soon as something seems out of place, it takes you out of the experience, and you're no longer a warrior of light. You're just a character in a video game. That's why having clearly defined lore is so important. It's impressive that even in a world that sticks so closely to its lore, you can still pull off all these collaborations with other titles like Yokai Watch.
Yeah.
Best one.
Yoshida says that's a totally separate issue. He laughs. There's a difference between placing value in your lore and being so overprotective that it limits your marketing efforts and the kind of titles you can collaborate with. For the one you mentioned, we deliberately steered clear of using any Heavensward areas, so I think we just got away with it. Koji says, the wandering executive shows up in Eorzea. Yoshida says, yes. His homeland is somewhere in Hydaelyn, under the parts hidden by clouds. My hero says, and I bet it's a country roughly the same shape as Fukuoka Prefecture. Wait, what?
Did he just dox him? Just give him his address? Yeah, he lives right here in Japan.
Okay, exploring new territory. Raising the level cap to 60 meant a new set of quests for each job. What was behind the decision to introduce new characters for these storylines? My hero says, we thought that a change in cast would be a good match for the change in scene. Because Heavensward is kind of the third season of Final Fantasy XIV, we wanted to bring in some new characters.
He loves that TV analogy.
He does, yeah. He keeps bringing that up. 14 is a TV show.
Was sort of.
Yeah, that was a good show.
Oh, the Dad of Light. I forgot about that.
We never reviewed Daddy of Light, by the way.
It was really good.
Never did.
No. Did you come across any problems from writing the quests? My hero says, none of the jobs caused any major issues. I guess one example would be that the guns the machinist used originally came from Limsa Lominsa, so we couldn't think of a good reason for the quest to take place in Ishgard. In the end, we decided to differentiate the Lominsan musketeers from the Ishgardian machinists. There were already examples of pirates in Limsa using guns, so we sent the players there as part of their training. Dragoon, so that's interesting. It seems like they really, originally maybe, wanted it to be musketeer. But then
sort of were forced to have it in Ishgard.
Yes, they had to change it to fit Ishgard instead.
Yeah.
And that's why we have the ugly fucking power pack.
Yeah. Yeah. Dragoons was another one. Estinian was showing up in the main scenario at that point, so we had to make sure we didn't create any inconsistencies between that and the job quests. I like that the Estinian, if you've done the Dragoon quest, he recognizes you when you first meet him in Heavensward. Did the increased number of jobs cause any issues with the combat? Yoshida says, work on combat is divided between two teams. One that works on the battle system and one that works on enemies and bosses. The battle team deals with the overall design and balance, as well as requesting the necessary animations. In most MMORPGs, new jobs tend to be overpowered at first and then nerfed later, so we deliberately held back to avoid that situation. Unfortunately, this backfired, because they seemed kind of underwhelming in terms of overall strength, which is probably the result of us becoming too accustomed to how MMORPGs work. And that's true, because boy oh boy, there was a lot of balancing issues and stuff following Heavensward's release.
When did the 3 new jobs finally get good? It was like
3.5.
3.4, 3.5?
Yes. Oh boy, yeah. That was a mess.
Ever been good.
No, Machinist is still struggling technically, I think. It is struggling to find its real way.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It
does decent damage. But...
Yeah, and also remember, like, Astrologian was a mess as well. That was a big problem, and there were like skills that were like completely rewritten, like they were changed entirely. God, it was a.
I feel that Astrologian is going to struggle in Shadowbringers.
Yeah, probably. It's going to struggle in every expansion.
They should bring back Disable. That was cool.
Oh yeah. How about the visual design for each job? Suzuki says, the Astrologian was the hardest job to design for Heavensward. After it was decided that their weapon would be a globe, there were so many questions we had to answer. How is it going to work? Will they use the globe to whack the enemy? How can we show the cards?
They sliced the cards. They fixed it. It's fine.
Yeah, Yoshida. That one was really tricky. We thought about having them draw out a long sequence of cards, one after another. My hero.
Animation locks.
Yeah. My hero. We just wanted to do the My Turn Forever thing. What? Is that a reference to an anime? Rollo, check your anime.
Yu-Gi-Oh?
Probably.
Yu-Gi-Oh? Yeah, probably.
I'm not...
Do we have to wait for chat so that the YouTube comments won't come bite us in the ass? It's a Yu-Gi-Oh reference. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Suzuki says, the combination of globe and card holder that we finally settled on turned out well, I think. I agree. Yoshida says, the designers did a great job with that. It has its own unique mechanics and looks absolutely incredible in action.
Yeah, and it had the best artifact gear.
Yeah.
Like Welkin set was amazing.
Yeah.
Wait, for Astrologian you said?
Yeah, the Welkin one. Do you remember like the...
Yeah, it looked very nice.
It had the veil.
Too.
Yeah. But
it looked...
very weird on Mail Aura, I must say.
True, yeah.
Didn't quite... I don't know how I feel about that. Rogadin too. Male Rogadin too looked... It was an interesting sight.
It was slimming on them, though.
Yeah.
It looked nice.
Yeah. Suzuki says, this is kind of off topic, but the new areas also cause a lot of headaches. Ishida says, in A Realm Reborn, one part of the map can have enemies that are level 5, while in another they're level 45. If you cross a bridge, you might suddenly find yourself in an area where the monsters are much stronger. Which, yeah, there are multiple areas
that was
like
a good
that.
thing,
Yeah. From Heavensward onwards, we changed that approach, and now the levels of enemies in given locations are set within a certain range. One place might have monsters from level 51 to 53, for instance, Of course, the introduction of flying mounts was a big part of that decision. Suzuki then continues. That even affected the way maps themselves were made. For A Realm Reborn, we were allowed to make each location stretch all the way to the horizon, but with the flying mounts, everything had to look okay when viewed from above, too. You can see a whole lot more when you're way up in the sky, so we had to consider that as well as how things look from ground level. To make sure that the player could not only see more, but also that those things were displayed correctly, every single thing had to be built using textures and tiny polygons. It was a lot of work.
A lot of work.
Yeah, a lot of work.
Everything had to be built with textures and tiny polygons. That's all the game is.
Yeah.
No,
Everything is made of that.
No, they only use big polygons, usually, in A Realm Reborn. Only massive polygons.
Yeah. Are you talking about, like...
FF7 polygons.
Yeah.
Like, level of detail, distance stuff?
Yeah.
I think maybe it's something like pop-in and stuff or something.
I guess.
Yeah, probably, yeah. The lighting caused a lot of problems, too. Suzuki says,
this was really interesting, actually,
yeah. Suzuki says, we had a hard time with that one, that's for sure. In A Realm Reborn, there is always a light shining on the player. It's just a soft glow to make the character look better. The trouble is, for Heavensward, we were asked to create more contrast between light and dark, so even the bright areas needed to have shadows that were actually dark to get the right kind of aesthetic. Koji says, I'd walk past where they were making the maps and hear people yelling at each other. I can't even see the character. We were told to make it dark, so that's what we did. Suzuki says the cutscene team would say that sometimes, that it was hard to make out the characters, or we'd hear that you couldn't tell what the enemies were doing. But Yoshi P would tell us he wanted even more of a contrast.
Even darker.
Make it darker.
Darker, I'd say.
My hero, in a single-player RPG, you're the only one there, so it's fine for everything to revolve around you. With MMORPGs, you've got to interact with other players, and not being able to see them is kind of a big deal. This led to fights breaking out all around the studio.
Fist fights.
Yeah.
Chairs breaking.
It's too dark!
I think it looked okay.
Suzuki says, we had to help the battle team deal with their problems too, and it took a lot of work to solve all the issues. And when we thought we'd finally put this trouble behind us, we looked at Estinian and found out no matter how much light you shined on him, you still couldn't see him.
I mean, he's wearing, like, blue and black armor, so I guess...
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Wait, Estinian, sorry.
Yeah, Estinian, yeah. My hero says, oh, you mean his armor. Suzuki says, yeah, his gear is jet black and was designed to always look dark, even when there's a lot of light. In A Realm Reborn, everything was brighter in general, so those black parts made him look lean and stylish. But in Ishgard, it's much darker, so Estinian kind of blended into the background to the point of being almost invisible. When I spoke to Minagawa about it, he checked the black used as the base color for Estinian's armor and found out it was set to reflect absolutely zero light. No wonder we couldn't see him. Anyway, we made a lot of adjustments to the lighting, taking care not to screw things up for A Realm Reborn areas too. It made me realize how hard it is to change things once they're already up and running. As for the mounts, I wish we could have allowed flying in A Realm Reborn maps, but we just didn't have the time or resources. My hero says, we do our best to avoid any glaring inconsistencies, and when there are problems that we can't deal with at the time, we try to sneak the fixes later. Some are really minor things that you wouldn't even notice from playing normally, but we aim to solve all the issues that need solving. So, yeah, I did notice that in, like, earlier Realm Reborn cutscenes. Not in the game, because obviously the changes to his armor has already happened, so you will always see the changes that they made to his armor now. But in the old cutscenes, his armor is really jet black. I forgot just how dark his armor was.
Almost like a broken texture.
Almost, yeah, bordering on that, yeah.
I never saw his old stuff.
Yeah, no, it was very dark. If
Did it
you
look
guys,
like that when you wore it too?
What?
Did it look like that when you wore that armor as well?
No, I think ours was like slightly purple, wasn't it? No, I can't remember now. No, I think his was always a little bit darker. I don't remember. It's been too long. For those of you that watched stay tuned for the post show, because in the Ishgard Aurora episode, you're going to see Estinian in the 1.0 armor, and it's the same darkness as it was in the A Realm Reborn stuff. Okay, reflecting on Heavensward. Okay, last question. This is a wall of text. What made the biggest impression on you during your time on Heavensward? Koji is first. For me, it was the fact that we were able to release the lore book, Encyclopedia Eorzea. Since way back, there has been tradition of the Final Fantasy series having the Ultimania books to explain the lore that isn't spelled out in each title. Because I had the chance to help come up with the lore for this title and knew that about 80% of what we'd come up with didn't make it into the game, and because I knew how hard we'd worked on it, I thought it would be a shame for it to go to waste. For A Realm Reborn, everyone had their hands full with development, so there was nothing we could do about it. But when Heavensward came out, we found an opening in the schedule, and the scenario team decided to put together a lore book. That's when we ran into another problem, because we realized that if we wanted to sell it overseas, we'd need people who know the game inside out to stand a chance of translating it into English. There's no way they'd be able to do it if they didn't know Final Fantasy XIV. But the localization team already had other work to do, so we couldn't ask them to take care of it. But we knew the overseas players really wanted us to release a lore book, and even though it was a lot to ask of the team, we decided to publish an English version too. I think the fans appreciated the work that went into it, even though it ended up doubling our workload, pushed Oda and myself to our limits, and made us swear we'd never try to do anything like that again. We decided to make a second volume. The thought the thought of coming up with another 300 pages is kind of scary, but I think the players will enjoy it. This was clearly done before the book came out, the second one. Pseudo says, at one point around patch 3.4 or 3.5, I was playing at home and went to Idleshire, where I noticed the huge crowd of players, many of whom were beginners with a little sprout icon. This was when we had released the Alexander raids, going overboard with gear checks in Gordius, then overdoing it with mechanics in Midas. I thought we had struck a pretty good balance with the creator, but seeing that crowd made me remember who we're making this game for. I realized that though content for our veterans is important, we also need to do our utmost in the next expansion to create an experience that new players will love as well. As I sat there in front of my PC, I felt a renewed sense of conviction, and I plan to keep that feeling with me as I continue to design for 14. That is important. It is important to cater for both types of players, the new ones and the old ones. Suzuki says, it feels like I only remember all the struggles I've been through, like having to totally rethink the way I look at the in-game world because of the flying mounts, designing the new jobs and races, and trying to update the overall look of the game. But at the same time, the fact that the work we put into expanding and enhancing Final Fantasy XIV has been so well received has made it all worthwhile. Rather than presenting the characters and environments in a plain, unaltered state, I'll do whatever I can to bring out the best in them. My Hero says, after launching A Realm Reborn as a standalone game, we started working on Heavensward while we were still in the middle of making the post-launch patches. As a result, we built up all kinds of useful skills and experience, like how to structure the main scenario and how to put together the job quests and side quests. And now we have a basic format in place that we can use in the future. I think this led directly to us getting Heavensward to its finished state. Obviously, there will be a lot more added to the game, and just because we have our format in place doesn't mean it'll be easy to write new storylines and quests. But at the very least, I'm glad we were able to lay the foundation for what's to come. Closing words by Naoki Yoshida. For me, Heavensward was the first Final Fantasy title that I had been there to help build from the ground up. Everything from the story to the characters and sound. It was a hugely rewarding experience. We all went through hell and back to get it finished, but because of that, I really feel that we gave it everything we have. Our work on Heavensward has determined the direction of Final Fantasy XIV as a whole, and the feedback we received along the way was a huge part of that. So I'm extremely grateful to our players. There you go.
What a nice
Very good.
We finally finished it after a month and a half.
Yeah. that was good. They're very honest in these interviews. They're usually not that honest when it's like a third party interviewer, because now they're being like asked by their own company, I guess. So that's why they're being more open. Because the company can just cut out stuff if they're like we can't publish this, and they'll just remove it. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to know how they worked on it. It's not quite as interesting as A Realm Reborn. A Realm Reborn will always be the most interesting one because of all the stuff they had to clean up.
Yeah.
One they'll always get asked about forever.
Yeah.
What was it like? Oh my god.
How was it like to reboot a game? You were a hero. Right. Let's read some MogMail, I guess. We still have to finish our backlog. But that was the interview with the dev team about Heavensward and how they felt during the development. Right. I guess we'll just start. We don't have them rendered. There's so many still.
God.
Okay, this one's from Acetamoon from Zalera. Maybe we did this one? Do you no, it didn't even put them in the show notes. One, does Blue Mage feel like Eureka? Does this ring a bell? No.
No, it doesn't.
Both were mysterious and contained in their own world. How do you feel? You know what, for you guys, I can do this so you can like see it.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Here we go. No, I can't get it. It won't go over. Okay. Interesting. Why won't it do that though? Okay. Oh, I'm opening a lot of other. It won't leave. Okay, it's stuck to a window. How do I fix? Move. I can't get it. Oh,
almost. There it is. It's there.
Okay, well, that's good enough. That's as good as it gets. Okay. Does Blue Mage feel like Eureka? Both were mysterious and contained in their own world. How do you feel about 14 making all these minigames out of very important stuff such as relics and new jobs? Do you want to see more of this in 14's future? 2, what kind of relic quest/content do you want to see in Shadowbringers, like A Realm Reborn, Heavensward, Stormblood? 3, do you think Fran will exist in Hydaelyn after the monastery raid as a regular character in Shadowbringers? Do you think she will be involved in the main story like Yugiri? And 4, do you think Fran will fight alongside us like Kusetsu did at the end of Heavensward? Interesting questions. Let's start with the first one, which is about Blue Mage. Does Blue Mage feel like Eureka?
No.
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 I wouldn't, because the grind for stuff is like it's pretty like light, honestly.
Yeah.
It's also fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's subjective, but like,
yeah,
I'm having a good time with Blue Mage for the most part.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's also soloable for the most part.
Yeah.
You don't even need all the skills to do all the carnival stuff. You need like a set amount of skills that are like mostly in the overworld and like a few in a dungeon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can do it at your own pace, whereas Eureka, you can get lost behind.
There's a lot of Eureka is also like you have to like get into Eureka. Like there's a whole system there.
Yeah.
Blue Mage you can just do. Like you can just I'm gonna do some Blue Mage now in the overworld. You don't have to party up with anyone. You don't have to look for fates.
Yeah. And I got through pretty much everything. All the Blue Mage related stuff. Save for like one fight or two I just couldn't beat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a majority of the skills in like less than a week and a half.
Right.
With not like a ton of commitment, which is like not how Eureka turned out.
Yeah.
How do you feel about 14 making all these mini games out of very important stuff such as relics and new jobs? Do you want to see more of this in 14's future? So, like, how do we feel about like stuff being put into their own little systems? Because Eureka is its own system with a relic. Blue Mage is its own system, completely isolated from the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Do we want more of this? It's difficult because I'm okay with the Eureka system. I just want them to make it better. Make it so that everyone can enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now it's a little niche. Like you have to kind of like that old school grind punishing aspect of Eureka to kind of get any enjoyment out of it. And yes, I'm looking at you, Rollo. But the I think it's a good thing that we have a lot of stuff that's self-contained. I mean, it is a theme park, like he keeps saying, Yoshida, and you would expect there to be rides. And the Blue Mage is a ride, Eureka is a ride, and then all the dungeons are rides in their own right. As long as it's not limiting other stuff in the game, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. That's what I agree with that too. I feel like, I mean, stuff like Eureka's fine. I mean, I think specifically the Eureka we have now is bad, but I think those kind of modes of play be like compartmentalized into different sections with different kind of mechanics and stuff. I think that's cool. That's good.
Yeah.
And I think that Relic sort of lost the cool factor of them after a Realm Reborn, because those ones are really important items in the lore, whereas Heavensward and even worse, the Eureka ones have like no lore. Especially the Eureka
again,
ones.
the lore is like contained again, like it's contained within Eureka. There's like I feel like the Blue Mage system, we know they're probably going to keep doing that. Like they're going to put another class limited job in the game.
Probably,
Hopefully Beast Tamer.
Gunblade.
That'd be cool.
Announcing Gunblade, the new limited job. What if that's like the trailer? It's just Thancred running through like the Gunblade version of the Carnival.
At level 50.
Yeah. What kind of Relic Quest content do you want to see in Shadowbringers? Like a Realm Reborn, Heavensward, Stormblood?
I want those books back where you have to do like certain content in a specific order. Because I think this kill 10 elemental monsters or whatever.
Yeah.
Don't tie shit to Fates anymore. I'm so tired of that.
Yeah, the Fates. I'm done with that. Please.
I hate.
I say that, but once they release another one where I have to do Fates, I'm going to do them again. But
I'm not going to. I refuse. I didn't do the Umbral and light shit for the first step of Heaven's Sword. This shit was too much work. I'm too lazy. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. I mean, the books were kind of didn't wait. What step did we need the fucking Alexandrite?
That was some like a Realm Reborn one.
Oh god, that was so bad. I don't want that. That step can die. We'd never bring that back again. That was a bad idea.
Luminous crystals with 0.003% chance on Fates only.
Atma, Launch Atma, which like some people were like out there for 3 weeks and never got a single one. That was good. That was fun.
Just do Eureka, but better.
I like the
solo Eureka.
I like the initial part of the Relic quest where you had like a list. Remember that? You had like first you had to find the relic, like the pieces of it, and then you had to kill some certain mobs, and then you had to do the trials to get the things for the. Like it felt like it had a purpose. And then it sort of got diluted a little bit as we went on, and now we're in fucking Eureka. I don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Thanatos coming soon, baby. Watch out.
Oh, the materia thing actually was kind of shit. Remember that, where you had to like get that one blade, which was really expensive at the market at the time because everyone needed it. So you had to like level up a crafter to do it cheaply. But then you had to like meld two materials that made no sense to put on the blade. It was just completely senseless. And that material was expensive too. It was like grade 4 material, which was the max at the time. But maybe like but I like the fact that you had like a list. Well, like this is all the stuff you have to do, and it was like different and varied. That would be nice.
Yeah, make it like a hunting log.
Yeah, like a hunting log.
Tick things off.
Yeah. Number 3. Do you think Fran will exist in Hydaelyn after the monastery raid as a regular character in Shadowbringers? And do you think she will be involved in the main story like Yagiri?
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely. They've hinted a lot about it.
There was a lot of hints at the end of the story there. Not even at the end, like just during her whole presence. Like there's like a storyline that's not finished with her, like with your Mad Majesty or whatever, Your Highness. Yeah. And of course she's part of the resistance, the Dalmascan resistance. So
she's
definitely
gonna be there.
She's gonna be.
She's gonna be at the end too. Be like the Damascus resistance remembers.
Yeah.
And you'll see her in the background.
She'll be like, I liberated this. She's gonna be the lease of Shadowbringers.
If it's Fran, it's fine.
Yeah, we're almost definitely going to Damascus because they've revealed that part of the map.
They have, yeah.
That's the trailer.
Yeah.
They'll reveal that part of the map.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Fran will fight alongside us like Usetsu did at the end of Heaven's Word? It kind of depends on how much it'll be in the MSQ, but I'm sure if she becomes like an integral part of this. Oh, that would be too late now because this came before the last patch. So because Usetsu came in 4.5. Yeah, don't you remember that? He came in 3.5.
Yeah, I know, but I don't remember him fighting with us at the end of Heaven's Word. But it's been a while.
Yeah, he was at the Heaven's Sword. Remember, you fought.
Yeah, because he did the
hammer.
Yeah, because he did samurai moves. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, he's doing samurai moves."
God, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then in that case,
she didn't do that, so we know that. But it was. She did have she didn't have any presence in the MSQ, but she's definitely coming back.
Yeah.
They wouldn't just leave. It would be really weird if they just left all of those like open. Like there's a lot of stuff that they referenced in the story that you felt was going to continue at some point. Mm-hmm. It would be weird if they just left it there. Right. Let's move on to Warm Tea from Gilgamesh.
It's a nice name.
Yeah, that's pleasant. Will you change race when the expansion drops? Popular question. I think we've
had it a few times.
Depends how good they look.
I'll change my main character definitely. Not the character I use on here. So.
Okay. I'm gonna have
to.
to.
I should say.
Probably not.
I might just do a quick one just to see, but I probably won't. I've been here since fucking. I've been Hume since 11. It's not. I'm not.
So vanilla.
I am. Okay. This is probably too long. We don't have time. It's too long. Too long, yeah. Okay, this is from Rosa Kermesi from Diabolos. I love learning about all the lore from you all. Thank you so much for what you do. I would love to learn more about the Allegans. Are you thinking of making an episode focusing on their lore and maybe include some things from 1.0? Thank you.
I think we'd all like to learn more about the Allegans.
Was there any Allegan stuff in 1.0?
Good question, Rollo. I believe yes. There were. Yes.
Okay.
There were Allegan runestones. There were the precursor to Allegan tomestones in 1.0. Oh. So the Allegans were mentioned in the game. That is interesting. I love the Allegan Empire, and it would be very cool to make a video about that. That could maybe need to make a new series for that. I don't know if that would be a core concept or something else. We'll see. Everything doesn't have to be a series either. I can just make a one-off video or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely something I could do. Thank you, Rosa. I don't think we actually have time for the rest here.
No.
They're all very long. Okay, well, there's one following up to Fran. This is from Kida Kamikaze from Fanfrit. Hello, speakers. Now that you've seen Fran in-game, do you think the Viera race will be exactly like her design-wise and running animation? Or do you think she is unique? Do you have any male Viera design predictions?
Definitely she's unique.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, her outfit and all that's not going to be like the race-based clothes or something like that.
No. But do you think she's built using the character creator?
No.
In game.
No, I think she has a custom face. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you won't be able to recreate Fran.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I think.
Yeah, I
won't be
agree
able to
with
recreate her in the character creator.
Right. Her running animation might be an indication. That might be an Aura, a Viera animation. She does run really weird.
Yeah.
She runs like the Aura almost, but
I think it looks better though than the other taller races.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because like the male Aura run, is still the goofiest shit ever.
Yeah.
And the Ellison one's a bit.
Yeah.
But that might not be her sprint animation. It might just be her her normal walk.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Do you have any Mail Vieira design predictions? Well, we do already have like the one sketch that they made for Mail Vieira. They're just gonna be buff bunnies.
Yeah, I think they'll be similar to the females. They'll have, they'll be really lanky.
Yeah,
they'll have probably long hair too.
Yeah,
and they'll have exposed booty for sure.
Okay. That is our prediction for Mail Vieira, everyone. Please look forward to it. Hopefully we're right. Okay, that's the end of the episode. Remember to follow us on Remember to follow us on Twitter at SpeakersXIV, twitch.tv/SpeakersXIV, and youtube.com/SpeakersXIV, Discord in chat if you're watching live, if you want to join our Discord server. If you're watching on demand, link is in the description. Remember to send us MogMail at speakersxiv.com/MogMail. And that is that. Remember to stay tuned for the post-show live premiere of Remnants of a Realm, Ishgard, the city-state that never was. And we almost forgot minimum eye level.
Just tell people to sign up for the thing too.
Host thing still going. speakersxiv.com/host. Deadline is the 31st.
The same day
for hosting.
Yeah.
Come on down. Take anybody. They took me.
Well, yeah, we did.
We're taking every applicant. So we're going to have a very busy show.
We're going to the burn.
Like the burn.
No, that's going to be rough on minimum eye level. That fucking last boss.
3-man burn. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Thank you. Once again, the deadline is the 31st.
Yeah.
So you won't get a letter of rejection until after that date. We won't start processing applications until after FanFest.
Yeah, it could take a while.
Yes. Right. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the post show. Bye.
Bye.